Welcome to Blueprint Radio. I'm your host, Martin Williams. Here we help you create a blueprint for your life. So let's build. And welcome to Blueprint Radio. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. All the links to the podcast can be found at guidedexpressions.com/podcast with an S. Today, I wanted to talk to you about mental programming. So one of the directions that I've chosen to go in my coaching business is really to teach the importance of reprogramming your mind for success. So why is it important? All of us grew up in one way or another, right? And maybe you grew up in a family where things were easy and there were, not a lot of problems, not a lot of major crises going on in the household. You had very good parents who loved you, parents who took care of you, parents who were adept at, just good with money and good with, business and good with, just spending time and all of these things. And so, your childhood was fairly good. Not to say you didn't go through anything, but, you had a fairly good childhood, right? And you should consider yourself blessed, right? But there's other people who didn't have such a easy road growing up. Maybe their family went through a divorce. Maybe there was abuse in the home. Maybe there were financial problems consistently, evictions, foreclosures, cars being repossessed, all kinds of drama going on within the family structure. And, you just didn't know any kind of peace, any type of consistency, any type of, just normalcy, right, growing up. So that's a lot to deal with as well. But whether it was good or bad or in between, we were all programmed a certain way, right? Certain children are programmed, they were programmed from birth to be, good with money and, to be organized and have a sense of order about their life. They were programmed to get married at a certain age and have children at a certain age, buy a house at a certain age, get a certain type of job and stick with that until retirement. And there's nothing good or bad about it. There's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just how they were programmed. And then, you have some children who were programmed to not do much of anything, right? They're kind of programmed to underachieve, right? To not have goals, to not have aspirations, to not have dreams. And so oftentimes people are started on a path and they stay on that path until death. And they don't realize that at any point they can change it. They don't realize that at any point you can decide that, even though my mom and dad did that, and, right or wrong, it doesn't really matter what it is, that I don't have to go down that path. And, some people do realize that. Some people, they grow up in what we call the nuclear family, two-parent home, 2 children, a house, a dog, picket fence, whatever. A lot of people grow up in that and then they decide that they don't want to do that. They want to do something different. And so there are some people who realize that they can live a different way, but not everyone realizes that. Not everybody realizes that you don't have to work a 9-to-5 job to make ends meet. You don't have to, stay in an abusive relationship or stay in a relationship that isn't life-giving. You don't have to stay in anything that is not serving you, right? So why do people continue to stay there? Because it's programming. They're programmed a certain way and they don't deal with their programming. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to create materials to help people reprogram their mind. And by reprogramming their mind, what I'm saying is you can basically decide, okay, I'm not going to work a 9-to-5 job anymore, right? Like I'm going to phase that out over the next couple of weeks, couple months, right? But if your programming is, the only way to make money, the only surefire way to make money is to work a job, then unfortunately that program is going to keep you chained to that job until you reprogram the mind. And the way you reprogram the mind is basically you tell yourself, I can make money doing anything. I can make money outside of a job. I can make money in a business. I can make money by selling things. I can make money by, working DoorDash. I mean, I know DoorDash is like a job, but you kind of work for yourself, right? Because you can set the hours that you want to work and, have that flexibility, right? I can clean cars. I can do websites. I can cut grass. It's like there's all these different ways that I can make money. I don't have to stay in that one mode of working a traditional 9-to-5 job. Now, if you like your 9-to-5 job, this isn't an indictment against you. And, if you want to stay there, stay there. I'm not telling you that you've got to leave your job. You got to quit. No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if you have a desire to leave, you can, but you've got to reprogram your mind to accept the possibility that you can make money doing something other than a traditional 9-to-5 job. If you want to lose weight, you have to reprogram your mind that you can lose weight. A lot of people feel like they can't lose weight, so they don't try, right? Some people feel like, I can never buy a house. I can't ever save money, right? It's hard to save money. I can't save money. There are people who really think this way. And so isn't any surprise that they don't save money, right? Because they've programmed their mind and really more to the point, they've been programmed to think that it's hard to save money. I mean, I know people that save pretty much every dollar that they make somehow, right? I don't know if they get other people to pay for their stuff. I don't know how they do it. But, there are certain people who are able to save large amounts of their income, but it's all programming. It's programming, right? There are people, you've heard of people who, work 8-hour jobs, not $8 an hour jobs, excuse me. They worked these $8 an hour jobs and then they were able to retire worth millions. How did they do that? Because they saved, and they saved a lot. And what they did was that they invested the money. They didn't just save it, but they invested the money into, stocks that, basically compounded over time. And, they were able to create a fortune from literally nothing, right? So why is it that they can do it, but you can't? There's really no reason why, right? The only reason is that they programmed their mind to do that, and they did it, right? And the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that the people that succeed, they decide to do something and then they do it. And then they keep doing it, right? People who dream about success, they never really make a decision, because even when they start doing it, they immediately quit when it gets rough or, it gets a little choppy, right? So it's important that you reprogram your mind in the way that you want it to go, right? If you're programmed for poverty, if you're programmed for lack, if you're programmed to never have enough money to do anything, it's very difficult to, you're not going to outwork that programming. Okay. A lot of people, they'll say, well, let's get another job. And then, you work 2 jobs and then you're exhausted. And then you wonder, like, why can't I get ahead? Why can't I push forward? You can't push forward because that programming is keeping you at that level of finances, right? If you grew up in, like, when I say poverty, it's all relative, right? The average American middle-class person lives better than, I think it's like 70 or 80% of the world or something like that. Might be higher than that, actually. But, it's all relative, right? I don't live in a third world country. So, I'm just saying in relation to my surroundings, right? Things were a little tight growing up. And so when you grow up and you realize, okay, well, it's my show now, right? I'm the one making the decisions for my life. You can still end up in that similar state where it's like a feast or famine type of thing. It's like, today I have money and tomorrow I don't. Today I have money and tomorrow I don't. Well, you don't have to have that. You don't have to live that. You don't have to have that as your life. You can reprogram your life to, basically operate at a level of stability. And I've attained that for myself, right? Is I operate at a certain level of stability where, everything's paid, like nothing's getting turned off, nothing's getting, nothing's past due or anything like that, because I've decided that I'm not living in a feast or famine state. I've decided that I'm not going to live in a way that is, just a constant worrying about finances. I'm not doing that anymore, right? And once you make that decision and then you reprogram your mind, you can start to see that your life begins to reflect it. Your life is going to reflect your programming, good or bad, right? So if you're not living the type of life that you want to live, then you got to decide, okay, well, I got to like reprogram my mind for weight loss or for, better financial situation, a better work situation. If you think that starting a business is hard, then you're probably not going to ever start one. If you think that making money by yourself is hard, when I say making money by yourself, making money as an entrepreneur, if you think that's hard, if you think that's risky, you'll never do it. You'll never do it because it's that programming, right? You've been programmed by a lot of people, and basically it's people who failed in business a lot, right? Who basically program people who want to start a business, and they tell them, starting a business is hard. 90% of businesses who start fail within the first 5 years. That's a famous statistic, but it's been repeated over and over again. But the bottom line is it doesn't have any bearing on you. It has nothing to do with you. It could be 97%. It still would have no bearing on you because you are your own person and you make your own decisions, right? And nobody can come in your mind and think for you. So you don't have to submit to that belief unless you want to, right? And, if you decide to do that, then you fall in line with that expectation that, 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years, right? But how come people don't talk about the 10% that make it, right? To me, that's what I want to talk to the people who made it, right? So my point in all this is that, if you want to live a certain way, right, you've got to basically raise the level of your programming to match what it is that you want to live. And it doesn't matter what it is. Your mind has the ability to ascend to whatever level you give it, but you got to give it something to ascend to. If you're just trying to survive, then that's all you'll do is survive. But surviving and thriving is two different things. So I want to thank you for listening. If you want to find out more about what I do, you can go to my website, guidedexpressions.com. And if you're interested in some of the products that I have around mental programming, you can also go to the website, or you can click the link in the description and it'll take you to my product offerings. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to Blueprint Radio. For more information on Martin Williams coaching and products, please go to guidedexpressions.com or visit me on Facebook as well as Instagram.